Imagine a young boy, barely a teenager, standing in the heart of Brooklyn, New York. It's the early 1970s and the air is thick with the sounds of the city, horns honking, people chatting, and music spilling out from every corner. But amidst this urban symphony, there's a different rhythm pulsing through his veins. At just 3 years old, Jason William Mizell, later known as Jam Master Jay, picks up a trumpet for the first time. His tiny hands struggle to hold the instrument, but his determination is unyielding. This moment, this spark, ignites a passion that will forever change the landscape of music. Early life and musical beginnings. Born on January 21, 1965, in Brooklyn, New York, Jason's early exposure to music was profound. His mother, Connie Mizell Perry, and father, Jesse Mizell, recognized his innate talent and nurtured it. By the age of 3, Jason was already playing the trumpet. As he grew, so did his musical repertoire. He learned to play the bass, guitar, and drums. His home was a haven of melodies, with Jason often performing in church and local bands. In 1975, the Mizell family relocated to Hollis, Queens. It was here, in this vibrant neighborhood, that Jason discovered the art of DJing at the age of 13. He was introduced to turntablism by his high school friend, Wendell DJ Hurricane Fight, who would later collaborate with the Beastie Boys. Jason quickly adopted the DJ name Jazzy Jace, and began performing at local parks and bars. His dedication to his craft was unwavering. He would practice late into the night, refining his skills with his Technics 1200 turntables. The formation of Run DMC. By 1982, Jason's reputation as a DJ had grown, and he crossed paths with Joseph Run Simmons and Daryl DMC McDaniels. The trio formed the groundbreaking hip-hop group Run DMC, with Jason adopting the moniker Jam Master Jay. Their fusion of rap and rock, exemplified in hits like Walk This Way, revolutionized the music industry. Run DMC became the first hip-hop group to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a testament to their immense influence. But behind the scenes, Jason's journey was not without challenges. Despite his success, he faced personal and financial struggles. In the late 1990s, he became involved in drug trafficking, a decision that would later have dire consequences. As we reflect on Jason's early life, it's essential to consider the choices that shape our paths. How do our beginnings influence our futures? What drives a young boy to pick up a trumpet and later become a pioneer in music? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Jam Master Jay's life, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more stories that matter. The rise and fall of a legend. Imagine standing on the world stage, the spotlight on you, and the whole world watching as you help shape an entire genre of music. That's where Jam Master Jay found himself in the 1980s. He was no longer just a DJ. He was a legend. Run DMC wasn't just a group, they were the voice of a generation. With their fusion of hip-hop and rock, they changed everything. Their iconic hit, Walk This Way, with Aerosmith, blasted down the doors of the mainstream music industry. For the first time, hip-hop wasn't just a street sound, it was everywhere. But success wasn't just about the music. For Jay, it was the validation of his years of grinding. From the local parks in Hollis, Queens, to selling millions of albums, the world was his oyster. He was living the dream, or was he? As the spotlight burned brighter, so did the shadows lurking in the background. Fame, money, and the pressure of always being on took their toll. Jam Master Jay, once the epitome of cool, was living a life that many didn't see. Beneath the fame, behind the legendary performances, something was eating away at him. Rumors began to surface. Jay wasn't just the king of the turntables. He was getting involved in something far darker. The streets he once rapped about in his songs were pulling him back in. Drug deals, shady connections, and dangerous people started creeping into his world. But here's the real twist. Was it the fame that changed him, or was there something else entirely? Was it his attempt to escape from the overwhelming pressures of success, or did he get sucked into a world that had always been there, just hidden from the public eye? Then, on October 30, 2002, everything came crashing down. Jam Master Jay was murdered. His life, his legacy, cut short in an instant. The very man who helped define an entire genre of music was shot down in cold blood in his own recording studio in Queens. Can you imagine that moment? The studio, once a place of creativity and freedom, now the site of a chilling crime scene. Here's the twist that will keep you up at night. For years, the case went cold. There were no answers, no closure. Fans, friends, and family were left in agony, asking one question: who did this and why? But the mystery didn't stop there. The more investigators dug, the more twisted the story became. It wasn't just a random act of violence. It was a calculated murder with a hidden world of drug deals and betrayal lurking beneath the surface. What happened to Jam Master Jay that fateful night? Why did it take so long for justice to be served? Now we have to ask, who could have done this to one of hip-hop's greatest icons? Was it someone he trusted? Someone close to him? Or was it someone from his darker past, pulling strings behind the scenes? And here's a question for you. What would you do if you had the chance to live the dream of your life, only to have it all come crashing down around you? What would you risk for fame, for legacy? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think happened, and who you believe was behind this tragic event. Secrets of the Streets, a web of betrayal. Imagine a man at the top of his game, surrounded by the finest things in life. Fame, fortune, and respect were all within reach. But underneath the glitz, Jam Master Jay was involved in a far darker world. A world that no one ever saw, yet it was the very world he came from. Jay wasn't just a star, he was from the streets of Queens. He knew the struggle, the hustle, the game. And despite everything he had achieved, there were whispers about his connections, his dealings, his choices. Was Jam Master Jay trying to escape that life, or was he simply caught in the web of it? Here's where the story gets chilling. Jay's involvement in the streets wasn't just a passing phase. It became an anchor that dragged him back. Drug deals, criminal connections, the very life he had once rapped about. This wasn't just his past. This was his present. And it would cost him everything. It wasn't just about street credibility or making money anymore. There were stakes, high stakes, attached to Jay's every move. Those who had once looked up to him began to see his success as a threat. People close to him, people he trusted, started to see him as a tool. A way to make more money, to leverage his name in ways he hadn't anticipated. As he became more entrenched in this underworld, his relationships with those around him began to deteriorate. The trust he had in certain people was no longer solid. He was walking a dangerous line, balancing his fame with a network of criminals who were willing to do whatever it took to protect their interests. The betrayal hit hardest from someone who was meant to be family. The people closest to him, those who should have protected him, were the very ones that seemed to turn on him. Did someone he trusted set him up? The deeper you dig into the events of that night, the clearer it becomes that there was more to the murder than a random attack. Jam Master Jay wasn't just shot, he was executed. The person who pulled the trigger had one thing on their mind: money. There was a transaction, an exchange, and it went wrong. After the murder, the music world went silent. The streets buzzed, but no one came forward. For nearly 20 years, Jay's case remained a cold file. No one spoke up. No one claimed responsibility. It seemed as if the truth would remain buried forever. But deep within the shadows, investigators were piecing together a story that was more complex than anyone could imagine. The silence around the case was deafening. Could the people who knew the truth ever come forward? Could the justice system really uncover who was behind the shooting after all these years? This is where you, the viewer, come in. If you had the chance, would you speak up if you knew something about a crime like this? What would it take for you to stand up and reveal the truth? And who do you think was behind this betrayal? Leave your thoughts and theories in the comments below. As the investigation continues to unfold, we want to hear what you believe happened that fateful night. If you're enjoying this documentary story, make sure to like and subscribe. The story isn't over yet, we're entering into a more chilling events that shocked the world. The air was thick with uncertainty. For years, the murder of Jam Master Jay went unsolved, leaving the world in a state of limbo. The hip-hop community, the fans, and even those closest to him were left with one burning question: who killed Jam Master Jay? At first, the case seemed like it would be just another unsolved mystery, another name added to the list of the forgotten. The killer had struck in the dead of night, in a place that was supposed to be safe, his own recording studio. But what if this wasn't just a random crime? What if Jam Master Jay had been caught in a web of deceit, betrayal, and revenge? The investigation begins. As the weeks turned into months, and the months into years, the investigation into his death became an uphill battle. The streets were silent, the witnesses too afraid to come forward. No one knew anything, or at least no one was willing to talk. The case was buried in paperwork, with few leads and even fewer answers. But investigators didn't give up. Behind the scenes, the pursuit of the truth never stopped. Officers, private investigators, and even the FBI began to take a closer look at Jay's life, at the people around him, his dealings, and his last moments before the fatal shot was fired. What they found wasn't just a random street crime, it was a carefully orchestrated plot. The investigation revealed deep connections to a drug network that had infiltrated the music industry. Jam Master Jay wasn't just a musician. He was now a key figure in a web of corruption, power, and dangerous liaisons. But the most shocking part of the investigation was yet to come. The key to unraveling this entire mystery came from an unexpected source. It wasn't a stranger, a random tip-off, or a witness who had been hiding in the shadows. No, it was someone close to Jay, someone he trusted with his life. The name that started to surface was Carl Jordan Jr. The investigation revealed that Jordan was not just a peripheral figure. He was at the heart of the crime. Theories began to swirl. Was Jordan involved in the same criminal activities as Jay? Was he seeking revenge over a business deal gone wrong? Or was he simply a pawn in a much bigger game? But the biggest twist? Jordan had ties to someone even closer to Jay's inner circle. His godson, someone who had been around the legend, had now become a suspect in his death. The idea of someone so close to Jay turning against him, betraying him, was something no one saw coming. As the years passed, the cold case slowly heated up. New evidence, new witnesses, and new leads brought the case closer to its conclusion. But was it too late for justice to be served? By 2024, nearly 22 years after the murder, the unthinkable happened. The trial began, and two men, Carl Jordan Jr. and Ronald Washington, were convicted of the murder of Jam Master Jay. The case that had haunted the world for decades had finally come to a close. But the lingering question remained: why did it take so long for justice to be served? How had the system failed for so many years, and why did it take so long for these men to be brought to justice? This case, full of twists and turns, isn't just about a murder. It's about betrayal, trust, and the darkness that can lurk behind even the most successful lives. What do you think? How did it take so long for the truth to come out? What do you believe was the real motive behind Jam Master Jay's murder? Leave your thoughts and theories in the comments. We'd love to know what you think about the investigation, and if you think justice was truly served. If you're hooked by this story and want to see how it ends, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Let's see the end of this chilling mystery. After 22 long years, the answers that the world had been waiting for finally came to light. Carl Jordan Jr. and Ronald Washington, two men who had long been suspected, were finally convicted for the cold-blooded murder of Jam Master Jay. The music world, his family, fans, and peers, finally had a sense of justice, but the toll it had taken on them was unbearable. The conviction was a bittersweet victory, a sigh of relief, and yet, a painful reminder of the life that was stolen too soon. Jam Master Jay was more than just a musician. He was a father, a mentor, a pioneer in hip-hop. But no matter how much the legal system tried to wrap the case up, there was one undeniable truth: nothing would ever bring him back. As the trial unfolded, chilling details emerged, and the truth behind Jay's murder was finally uncovered. What had once been speculated as a random act of violence was revealed to be a calculated, cold-blooded execution. A betrayal of the highest order, as people close to him, those who should have been his allies, turned against him. The crime wasn't born from a moment of rage. It was a carefully planned hit. It was about money, power, and control in a dangerous underworld that Jay had unwittingly become part of. And who was behind it? His own godson. Carl Jordan Jr., a man who was supposed to be like family, was at the center of it all. The man who Jay had trusted, who had been around him for years, had pulled the trigger. That level of betrayal was beyond comprehension. A man with no regard for the bond they shared. A cold, calculated move to settle a dispute that cost Jay his life. The case didn't stop with Jordan. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered other disturbing connections, involving Washington and other unnamed figures linked to a drug trafficking ring that had once been connected to Jay's world. But as the final trial days unfolded, the chilling realization set in. The betrayal wasn't just about money. There were personal vendettas, anger, and a hidden world of power and control at play. What's even more chilling than the brutal murder itself? The fact that Jordan wasn't alone. Ronald Washington, another figure from the underworld, was right there with him. They had planned this out. They knew what they were doing. Washington's role in Jay's death wasn't just incidental. He was a key player, a pawn, but also a man with a shared interest in silencing Jay. As the trial continued, their chilling motivations came into full view. The desire to wipe out anyone who could expose their dangerous dealings. And then there was the most chilling aspect of the case: the length of time it took for the truth to come out. For 22 years, Jay's murder was covered in darkness, no one willing to step forward. And as the public looked on, it became clear that some people in Jay's inner circle had known more than they ever admitted. Who else could be involved? That question still haunted the investigators, casting a long shadow over the case. But even as the conviction was made, the darkness wasn't over. Jordan and Washington were convicted, But the legal battle was far from finished. Jordan's legal team immediately filed for appeals. They argued the evidence against him was circumstantial and that certain witnesses had not been credible. The defense was determined to drag this case out, potentially stalling the finality of the conviction. Washington's fate was equally uncertain. As the legal process moved forward, the prosecution now had to build a case against Washington that would stick. And just when the world thought it could breathe a sigh of relief, the shadow of another trial loomed large. There was still the question of Jay Bryant, the third individual linked to the crime, who would be facing his own trial in 2026. This wasn't over. It couldn't be. The legal system would now have to navigate through a web of deceit and years of silence. The question was, would justice truly be served this time, or would it slip through their fingers once again? Here's the part that will keep you awake. What does justice truly mean? After all these years, after all the betrayal, can we ever truly say that Jam Master Jay got the justice he deserved? Do the convictions of Jordan and Washington bring real closure, or is there more to this story than what the courts have decided? And what about those still involved in this web of corruption? Who else could be out there hiding in the shadows? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think justice was truly served for Jay, or does the legal battle still have a long way to go? Who do you believe was ultimately responsible for his death? If you're as captivated by this story as we are, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We have more stories like this coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss out.